What's up, guys? This is Anthony, and today I am going to talk about something that could quite possibly change the face of the gaming world, as it were. And it's the fact that Capcom's shareholders have finally decided, look, we probably need to sell these properties. And I found this out just surfing the web on Facebook, and I see that the shareholders are taking down the takeover defense, which means now people can come through and, kind of window shop Capcom's IPs and, use them. Now, this can be a really great thing or really, really bad thing. And I say that because Capcom has a lot of IPs, most of which it hasn't been using in recent years, but we still have to acknowledge that they're there. And that means that we could see a lot of new games coming from these IPs, a lot of good ones, and some of them may not be so good. Because in the hands of other developers, who knows what people will come up with. Sometimes it can be as great as that new Strider game, other times it can be that Bionic Commando game. Correct me if I'm wrong if Capcom developed that one in-house, but I'm not a believer that happened. So what this could mean is that a lot of old things that we may have wanted to see, i.e. Project Justice, a new Power Stone, could happen, but that will totally depend on who picks up these properties. And it already looks like Sony may be on the move, because if you looked on Yoshi Ono's LinkedIn page, there is a title coming out for PlayStation 4 exclusively that he will be having a hand in. And I think that's going to be pretty great. I mean, let's say Sony picks up just Street Fighter. Sony is going to have the exclusive rights to Street Fighter. You know how awesome that is? That's well, okay, maybe you don't if you're an Xbox person, and I'm sure you guys feel some type of way, but as a person who enjoys more of the Sony side, I think that's pretty awesome. And also the fact that Microsoft has their Killer Instinct game, so why can't Sony have Street Fighter? That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, I'm digressing. And there were kind of some signs that things like this were probably going to take place. One of the biggest signs is that Mega Man is in Smash Brothers, which is a Nintendo game. And, you can take that how you want, because other people have justified by saying, well, as long as you've had a game on a Nintendo console, you qualify for being on Smash Brothers. That's great, but if that's the case, why hasn't Mega Man showed up before now? That's a pretty ambiguous sign, take it how you will. But I think this can be a really great thing for not really Capcom so much as the Capcom properties. We can see a lot of great games come from this depending on who picks it up. But that also means that if they get picked up by the big three, they're going to become console exclusives. The big three being Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Now, Microsoft already has Dead Rising, which means if you want to play the newest Dead Rising, you have to get an Xbox One. That sucks. But I digress. And now, who knows? Maybe Nintendo will pick up Mega Man, and then we'll have a whole bunch of brand new Mega Man games that could potentially be really bad if you look at their history of foreign IPs, Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah. And that can turn into something really ugly if we start digging up IPs that we hold dear to our hearts, and then people screw with them in ways that we really didn't want them being screwed with. Just imagine something like, I don't know, Ubisoft picks up Power Stone and now it goes from a party fighter to an action-adventure game, or Project Justice becoming something along the lines of, I don't know, something as cinematic as The Last of Us or something. Or the list goes on. And that's just looking at it from the realistic side. You can call it pessimistic, but I call it realistic. And then there's the bright side of things. Let's say Square Enix picks up Breath of Fire. That's not such a bad thing. Or if they picked up, what is that? Ghouls and Goblins, the King Arthur game. That, I would pay for that. I would pay for Square Enix to take Ghosts and Goblins and make a game with it. or Breath of Fire. I would totally pay for that. I think Breath of Fire is by Capcom. Yeah, Breath of Fire. Capcom. Don't mind. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how many properties that people can buy, and that I wish people would buy. Looking right at Resident Evil. Yep, I wish someone would come through and buy that and make something of it. Make something great of it. At this point, I wish Bethesda would take it and make something great of it. Yep, and you guys know how much I am anti-Bethesda, but if they can take Resident Evil and turn it into something great, then more power to them. Or let's say, oh god, ugh, I just had a horrible thought of Bethesda taking Street Fighter. Ugh. Anywho, like I said, there's a lot of possibility here. A lot of great things can come of it. A lot of terrible things can come of it. And I have to wonder what you guys think, because there are so many Capcom IPs that we have forgotten, that Capcom hasn't really done anything with, and thus have become forgotten. I think the last new IP Capcom has even come out with was Remember Me, which, ironically enough, is a pretty unmemorable game. So either Capcom needs to wake up and start using their IPs, or give them away. I mean, why not? There are a lot of loyal people who are waiting for old IPs to come back, and not just as HD remakes. I mean, yeah, we appreciate Street Fighter 3 Online. That's great. That's like their best port ever. But then, why keep porting things? Why not just come out with something new? With the money you're using to port all these games, some of which don't deserve it. Looking right at Marvel Superheroes. But, you know, some of them that don't deserve it, why not just funnel it into something, you know, new? And I don't mean reboots. I don't mean things like DMC. I don't mean that. Oh, and for the record, if people think about, you know, Deep Down as a new IP, quote unquote, I'm going to put that right in the box with Dragon's Dogma. And what I mean is that it looks to me like a Dark Souls clone, and Dragon's Dogma was, to me, a Skyrim kind of clone thing with a dash of Shadow of the Colossus. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything quote unquote new coming from it, especially when you have high hopes from Capcom, who used to be the forefront of innovation, and now it's kind of just taking ideas and slamming them into a game and saying, hey, new IP, come play it. And on top of that, Deep Down may not even come to America. So, yeah. The other new IPs that they've come out in recent years, Ashura's Wrath. The quick time event game that's more anime than game, which I think could have been done a lot better. You know, they could have taken it and made it into a fighting game. Personal opinion, just talking out the side of my neck here. And Lost Planet. Lost Planet being a very hit and miss kind of game. I can't say it's anything like games like Deep Space or anything, but it's certainly something. I'm not really sure how to describe Lost Planet. I don't know many people who still play it, but I think I'm digressing from the point. The point being, I'm interested to see where these Capcom IPs are going to go. I really want to see great things come from the acquisitions of these intellectual properties, and see some new stuff. See some new Ghost and Goblins. See some new Power Stone. See some new... no, not Lost Planet. I'm pretty done looking at Lost Planet. Maybe we'll see Street Fighter 5 and not Super Omega Ultra Deathlock Super... I said Super twice, Street Fighter. And so much more. Maybe all those things we asked for. A new Project Justice. A new Darkstalkers cough cough. We'll get to see all those wondrous things happen at the hand of developers that may or may not know what they're doing. Because there are a lot of them that don't know what they're doing. Like, there are some developers I hope I don't even see at the bid. Some of them being Deep Silver. I don't want to see them pick up anything. EA, I don't want to see them pick up anything. As much as I was just praising Bethesda a little while ago, I hope I don't see them So yeah, we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks and months. And hopefully, just hopefully, the world of video games will not become a darker place. So, what do you guys think? What do you think is going to come of it? And what IPs do you wish will come back and be more gently handled by recent developers? Or maybe, see a comeback from some old developers, or see some other developers come up, like Iron Galaxy. Yeah, I want to see them come up from being more as the people who port Capcom games to the people who make Capcom games. Or former Capcom games, as the case may be. So, yeah, I think I'm rambling now. Alright guys, tell me what you think, and I will see you all later.